Hey, good day. Happy Sunday. Hopefully I can release this video on Sunday, and get the editing out the way. It shouldn't be hard. Shouldn't be. Anyway, look, I just saw this video on Twitter and I was like, man, what has happened to our people, man? A lot of these quote unquote black American people that hop on these Twitter spaces and they say all this extra shit and they go viral. They're usually not even black American, they're tethers. But it's one video, man, I saw and it was just like, man, what is this chick talking about? Being confused and being well spoken is a dangerous combination because you'll have idiots and people with agendas and narratives running with whatever dribble that falls out of your mouth. And, let me just go ahead and play the clip. Y'all like, comment, subscribe if y'all enjoyed this video. Let's get right into this shit.
People wanted to jump down my throat when I said that other races of men, particularly these men, love dark-skinned black women the most. And not only am I here to double and triple down on what I said, but I'm also here to say that I am not fully pro-black. I am pro-black woman. There is a big difference. And a lot of times, like, black men will come into the comments making all these defenses and all these things. But, like, what we have to understand is a lot of the pro-black ideas were created by men who were misogynist.
Yes, everyone. She's pro-black woman. She's not pro-black. She's pro-black woman. Now, what does that mean? It means a few different things. One, she worships white men. Two, she's probably had a few lesbian interactions in her life before. And three, she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. She's one of these, and by the way, you go to her account, yeah, she's from Africa. She's a tether. This is why the delineation movement is so important. Once again, I'm gonna mention that until I'm blue in the face. This is why foundational black Americans delineating is very much so important. Now, niggas can go back all the way to the fucking 60s and nitpick certain situations if they want to. I know feminism did a number on women in general. We're not going to just dissect, separate into just are women. Women in general, the modern woman has been very much so heavily affected by feminism. Let's real quick, I just gotta say this. Women of the 1900s were spoiled because the middle class was a thing and was made a thing in the 1900s, right? The middle class was such a short-lived thing, right? A man could support his family, right? A man could support his family, spoil his family here and there with gifts, and the wife could just stay home. They could just stay home. They still had to cook, clean, and do the laundry. They still had to work now, but the man was able to support the whole family, all that shit. You already know. And women want to put a magnifying glass on that part. They want all the spoils of that time frame, right? They want men to do all that shit, but they want to turn around and pull the feminist shit when it's convenient to them. What this society about nowadays, a lot of this shit, when it concerns women, it's about women getting the best, what's best for them. And it doesn't matter if it fucks over anybody else, especially men. This society is about getting over on men nowadays. Let's be real now. That's what it is. But yeah, sitting there acting like pro-black is male-centered, man, let's hear more about this. Let's see what this African has to say.
And I don't agree with that. I have total respect, some respect for the men of the 50s and the 60s who led the civil rights movements and all that stuff. But a lot of them were really misogynist.
You mean those same black men in the 50s and 60s that fought in the civil rights movement that made it so you Africans and Jamaicans and Caribbeans and all that could even immigrate to the U.S., right? You mean those black men? We're being clear? Okay, cool. Just to be clear.
I love MLK, but he cheated on his wife with a lot of different women.
Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. fought for civil rights, but he cheated on his wife. You see this retarded ass shit? Only an African.
I've heard horror stories about the Black Panthers.
You heard stories about the Black Panthers and Black Liberation Army standing on business, fighting for civil rights and breaking brothers and sisters out of prison. You know, Asada Shakur was able to live out the rest of her days in Cuba because of the Black Liberation Army. You know that, right? But on second thought, she's a tether, so she probably thinks that Asada Shakur deserved to rot in prison for the rest of her life over a crime that she did not commit. So yeah, my bad. Let her continue.
So my Black idea is not architected by men, and it never will be. Now, I'll be honest, most of the books that I've read, like I've read Roots, I've read Copper Sun by Sharon Draper, but I haven't read a whole lot of Black literature. So if you have Black literature that is created by liberated Black women who are not male-centered, I would love to read it, because I do recognize that I need to work on my ideas, but I stand by what I said.
Well, that's odd, isn't it? That's really weird. She says she's pro-Black woman, but she doesn't know who Dr. Francis Cress Welsing is? The ISIS Papers? You never read that? Oh, you don't know Black literature like that? Oh, okay. Oh, right, all right. Well, here's some books, I know. Oh, man, she said no men, though. All right. Well, the ISIS Papers, but for, ones out there that aren't delusional, you can also check out Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s The Compensatory Concept, Racism and White Supremacy. Check that out. Very good reads. All Black Americans should know about those books. But yeah, what a funny guideline. Tell me about some Black literature that tells us more about history or, white supremacy, I'm assuming, but I don't think she even mentions that word, the phrase white supremacy at all in this, video, which kind of reinforces my belief that she is indeed a white zaddy chaser. But anyway, it has to be a Black woman, though, that isn't male-centered. So basically a CIA agent, because you can literally, by male-centered, she means a Black woman that was probably died alone, hated Black men, believed all sorts of weird-ass belief systems. She's some Erykah Badu chick, right? But anyway, let's continue this travesty. This is also my first time watching this video. I watched like 30 seconds before and I was like, yeah, let me do a video on this shit. So it's kind of my first watch too. And let me just say this. I just find it odd because she's talking about how civil rights generation and all that, or, the pro-Black older generation was just so misogynist, I guess. But I listened to Neely Fuller Jr. and every clip I heard, he was just breaking down the system of white supremacy, how it is, what it does, how to combat it, how to move in it. And it doesn't really give me the energy of being male-centered. So when a Black woman is sitting there talking about don't like being male-centered or some other shit, that just means they don't like the family structure, and they've dug in and bit into the feminist apple, and they're more than likely either going to find a Brad, be abused by them or killed by them, or die alone, because they're just so hard-headed that they just cannot admit that the only men that are going to sit there and really love on Black women is Black men. It is what it is.
I see white men loving dark-skinned Black women the most. When I traveled to Asia and I saw interracial couples, the women who got to wear their hair exactly how they wanted to wear their hair and still look beautiful and still feel beautiful, every single one of them, their 4C hair, every single one of them had a white man on their arm.
That's called a confirmation bias.
And I'm not here to say that that's the best form of love that a Black woman can experience, but what I am trying to say is, like, the stats are not looking good for Black men. So I know that y'all get mad in the comments and you want to talk about how I'm whitewashed and whatever. I'm half African, half African American from Memphis, Tennessee. I know my history, I know my culture, and I'm here to say that I am not interested in taking leadership from a Black man.
Okay, you just heard her say that she doesn't really know Black literature like that. She was reciting some white supremacist talking points about Martin Luther King Jr. Then she wants to tell you that she knows her history. I mean, really, how goofy can you get? How ignorant can you sound? Like, what? You didn't even tell us, not even 5 minutes ago, that you really don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then she wants to be like, oh, I'm half African American from Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, okay. And then she wants to talk about wearing your hair natural and all that. The bitch literally flat ironed her hair. She's flat ironed her hair. She's trying to make it look like a white woman's. And I guarantee you she'd be one of those delusional black women that say that she's got good hair when we know that you've been flat ironing your hair. Then that point about trying to blame black men about, I don't understand that shit. Like black women will wear weave and sew-ins and all that shit, and then when black men vocally and say, we prefer your natural hair, we prefer the hair that comes out your head. It's just all of a sudden it's, oh, y'all black men don't really want that. Y'all want white women hair because y'all see a couple niggas over there chasing snow bunnies. That's not the majority of black men. The majority of black men are married to black women. So that's a cop-out. You're not really making any sense. What you wanted to do was mention all those quote-unquote black women that were happily wearing their hair. So you say. They were happily wearing their 4C hair, and they were all with white men. We have no proof of that. It's anecdotal. And even if that was 100% true, again, confirmation bias. But anyway, let's let you continue rambling on. Let's do it.
I am not interested in taking pro-black leadership from a black man. I don't believe in it.
We know.
Now, one black man I think I can get behind is Malcolm X. From what I've heard, I can tell that he really loved black women. And I recognize that. I want to get more into his literature, but I am not willing to change what I know in my gut is true to fit what I think a black man desires. Like, y'all are not loving dark-skinned black women the way that y'all should be.
She's trying to clean up that shit quick. She just knows she made herself look like a fool, but she's like, oh, but I like Malcolm X though. No, it's too late. You already showed what you are. You're a tether. A coon, tether, feminist, retard. That's what you are. It is what it is, all right? And nothing that you say can really make anybody in the grassroots sit there and be like, I agree with you. Sitting there and acting like all black men or most black men aren't showing love to dark-skinned black women is just ignorant. It's just stupid. Are you showing love to dark-skinned black men? No, you're not. You're not showing love to black men whatsoever. You're not showing respect to black men whatsoever by making a video such as this. Trying to embarrass the race, but all you're doing is embarrassing your people, which are tether Africans.
Y'all are not. Because if y'all did, we wouldn't be in these shitty situations. We would be able to depend on y'all. Not even me, but like women darker than me. Whatever. It's not all about skin tone. What I'm trying to say is...
Now, was that her trying to blame white supremacy on black men? We wouldn't be in this situation. Like, this is how you know she doesn't know history. The multiple massacres and the highways being built through our cities and neighborhoods, the multiple times black men have tried to make a way, we've been plundered and fucked over multiple types of ways. This has actually been the first generation of black Americans where we could really hold on to some wealth generationally as a people, not just a few sparse black families holding on to something, but actually as a people, we could collectively keep our generational wealth. First generation versus the multiple generations that white Americans have gotten. The Asians were basically left alone. Everybody else was left alone for real. Except for black people. Every which way black people were targeted and fucked with. But this chick over here, according to her, that's all due to black men. Right.
We have to reconstruct our entire idea of what it means to be black. Because if we are listening to people who hated half of the group of black people, if we're listening and taking ideas from a group that hated black women, that raped black women, or cheated on black women, why is that normalized and accepted? I don't agree with that. And it pisses me off when I see women defend misogynoir, if that's how you pronounce it, misogynoir. I hate that. Because so you did all this research, all this literature, you read all these books, but you formed an idea of blackness that centers around the black man, and you are a black woman. That to me is a form of self-hate. So I would rather be ignorant and listen to my own intuition than like take leadership.
I mean, hey, look, she said it herself. I didn't. She would rather be stupid and listen to her intuition than to actually understand that she's wrong. She said it. You can't make this shit up. This is the dumbest shit I think I've heard all week.
From another black man who hated black women, to be completely honest with you. And we don't even know what liberation looks like for black women being centered. We still have not got to that part of history yet. So really, we don't even know if the civil rights era did us the most good. We don't even know what the best form of community could be, because black women are still being oppressed.
I mean, honestly, what more could black women want? It gets to a point where I have to ask this question because, and I know she doesn't represent all black women, let alone all black American women, but it's just like, what more do you want? The civil rights generation was hijacked by the feminist movement. They meshed that together. You know, the CIA and the fucking white supremacists made sure to, okay, we're going to give you your liberation, nigger, but we're going to make sure we shoehorn in some things that slowly but surely will ruin your communities, your family structure, all that. A poison, if you will. Now, it wasn't good enough that they were just, destroying our communities outright. They were like, okay, we can't just outright do that anymore. These black folks are turning up on us. They're doing all sorts of shit. They turn up on us. They're not just, and we've never been the ones that just sat there and let it happen. We've been turning up all throughout slavery. There were slavery rebellions, all that. If you look at the, the McGraw-Hill fucking textbooks and all that shit, you're going to think, oh, slavery was just niggas being kowtow, and it was just, that's it. There were no rebellion. Nothing. It's not like that. It's not how they would tell it. White people will sit there and be like, oh, from the kindness of our heart, brave American white men sat there and died to let you be freed. And she's the type of motherfucker that will actually believe some shit like that. And she's not going to believe that it was the black men that were the main ones fighting for us to be freed from slavery. God damn, keep messing up. It was the black men that were making it so her tether ass could even be in this fucking country. Type shit. So when you're sitting here bad mouthing our greats because you're, from your words, ignorant and don't know what you're talking about, yeah, it's kind of annoying. But it's like, at the same time, not even gonna go in on you like that because not even really worth it. Worth making a video on real quick because, hey, I got a new way that I'm making videos, and I gotta say it's much faster, and it's one of those things where it's just like, hey, I just hop on the editing thing, record, and let it fly. But she said something about we don't have a community yet. Let me see a clip that I came across here. Let me show y'all a clip real quick. Does she mean this type of community? Since she's so black woman oriented, is this a good example of the so-called pro black woman community that you're referring to or have in mind?
Listen about this bitch crying.
I don't care. I told you stop playing.
This motherfucker cut my baby hair out of here. Look at that shit. That shit sad. Hurt my baby feeling.
Now wait.
But you don't hurt the dad. You hurt her feelings. You hurt my baby feelings. My baby sat there for 2 hours. My baby sat there for 2 hours.
I mean, hey, look, is that her idea of a community? Is that what black women being oppressed looks like? Because what I see there is a man that has had children with a woman that, more than likely he had signs, he was shown red flags, but he was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make this work, because all the gaslighting tactics and bullshit that's been pumped into men's head to be like, that woman isn't tripping, you're tripping. You got to man up and just handle her bullshit or some dumbass shit. Some dumbass shit. And then he goes ahead and gets that beluga whale pregnant. Pops out like 2 kids. She does that. And he's trying to call himself taking care of his child, trying to make the child happy, the daughter happy. He goes and gets her hair done. And then you get a belligerent, combative, ignorant bitch cutting the freshly done hair out, the hair that made the child so happy. Daughter, by the way. Daughter, young black female, cutting that hair out of her head. I wonder how that woman would defend a clip like that. I wonder how she would explain something like that. And shit like that isn't new. I've seen at least 3 separate videos of something similar like that, because it's a situation. You already know the situation. The 2 parents aren't really together right now, and instead of the man going ahead and just sending the money to the mother so she can just go splurge and just piss it away on some bullshit, or probably spend it on another nigga, she decides, okay, let me just make a day out of it. Let me go take my daughter out, get her hair done, you know, instead of just sending money that, you know, the mom's never going to admit that he sent money. So let me just send it directly to you. Let me just spend it directly on you, instead of having this unnecessary middleman that's going to basically, you know, undercut my authority and presence as a father, you know. And it always backfires on these baby mothers. I'm not even going to say black baby mothers, because all single mothers always have this weird ass over emotional shit that they do, where they're having an endless war with the baby daddy and all that extra stuff. And it really boils down to the woman just being emotionally unstable, because they are emotionally unstable creatures. It is what it is. Men are more stoic, logical. I don't care what bullshit ass study you've seen. I don't care what ignorant ass virtue signaling source that you get. This is without a doubt. Men, most men, I'm not talking about the one outlier effeminate nigga that's sitting there complaining all day about a little bit of work or a little bit of turmoil. Most men sit there and they're going to go through the work. Even if we're talking about that effeminate ass nigga that's sitting there complaining, he's still going to get through the work. See, the reason why so many women are miserable and angry nowadays, making TikTok videos all day, complaining about society, is because they got to go out there and work. They got to go out there, throw elbows. There is no more staying at home while the man is making all the money, doing the real work, building society and all that shit. There is no sitting there, staying at home and all of that. That's over with. Those days are done. Now you got to get out here and change some oil. Now you got to get out here, do a little bit of construction. Now you got to get out and with AI taking all these basic ass, nice air conditioned jobs from these women. Oh man, Jason Black already covered this shit. So y'all are talking about, chicks like this want to talk about, oh, there's no building of the community. We don't have a community that's safe for black women. What are you talking about? We've had a community that's been safe for black women. I mean, about as safe as it's going to get in a system of white supremacy. What do you expect black men to do? We've been doing our absolute best. See, what these type of women really want are pandering, simped out, beta niggas that sit there and listen and do whatever these women say. And it's really ironic, because at the end of the day, those women that want those type of men to do that, they don't respect those men. And that's the reason, and that's the entire reason why that society that she's envisioning in her head, that it will never come to fruition. Men will never be so, as a group, will never be, especially black men, we will never be so deprived of our pride that we will sit there and just be degraded and not be respected by women in general, just for the sake of not wanting to hurt their feelings or virtue signaling or whatever. Because it doesn't make sense to us biologically or logically. Because you'll be sitting there watching society burn and you'll just be agreeing with the chick. It don't make no sense. Women will sit there and fuck up a whole society and then find a way to turn around and blame men. That's not how this shit works. Now, if what I just said here in this video sounds like misogyny to you, chances are that you relate more to this chick. And let me tell you something. Black society doesn't have use for women like this.
no use for them whatsoever. They don't even see themselves as black, to be honest. They'll sit there and they'll be like, oh, pro black, blackity black, black, black. And then behind the scenes, they're fucking around with Brad, Chad, Chang Wasana-san, whatever. They're fucking around with other races. They dipping and diving. They're useless to our community, useless to our race, useless to our cause. So I just want y'all to know these motherfuckers really don't matter. They're just fun to poke fun at, make videos on. That's really what it is at the end of the day. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Give it a like, subscribe, all that, and I'm gone.